It's my birthday month, and I am super excited because we are going to party all month long. To celebrate, I have pulled together some amazing surprises. I'm talking special offers, exciting giveaways, and exclusive bundles designed to help you thrive as you step into your main character era. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the details because I promise you, you don't want to miss a thing. Hello, gorgeous, and welcome back to the Girlfriend's Guide. I am so excited that you are here. Today is 12/12/24, and it is my birthday, and I am so excited about it. And I cannot think of a better way to spend this morning than pouring into you, some of my absolute favorite people. So I shared a post maybe on Facebook earlier this month talking about how there was a time when on my birthday I would go to Facebook and I would share like whatever year I was old, that many lessons that I have learned. And I looked back and the last time I did this was at 35 because like seriously, y'all are not about to read all of that, and I have learned a whole lot. But I felt like because there's been so much growth from 35 to 38, it was time to do this again. But now I have a podcast, and so I can totally post the episode here. If you want to see the original link, which shared like my top 5 lessons, I will post that down in the show notes. But this episode is going to house them all. So cozy in. It's going to be a little bit longer than the others. As I like to say, grab a pen, tag a friend. In this instance, you're probably going to want a snack, something to drink. You might want to listen to it in 2 separate whatever you got to do. You don't want to miss this, okay? So let's dive right in because your time is so valuable to me. And I should just go ahead and preface and say, these are not in any particular order. It's just the 38 that I felt like stuck out the most. Okay, cool. Number 1, the world keeps spinning no matter how many skies have fallen. So cry if you need to, but get up. Get up. I have failed dozens of times this year, but I've failed more than dozens of times in life. And the thing that sets me apart from other people is I refuse to stay down. I was born with something in me that refuses to give in. And I don't know what it is, but I am so glad that I have it. And I say this because so often people fail and they just give up on whatever it is that they desire. But I truly say, like, it's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be pissed off or bummed out. Cry if you need to, but get up. When something's important to you, you find a way. And when it's not, you find an excuse. So laying in the dirt, in the dust, in the muck, and complaining that things didn't work out for you is not an option for me. And I urge you to find something within you, some level of resolve to keep going. It will make all the difference. Number 2 is a little bit of a lighter note, but still totally important. The best foundation, y'all, is good skincare. Good skincare. Literally, no one is going to look back on life and be like, oh, I wish I hadn't bought that wonderful eye cream. So invest in quality skincare. You do not have to buy skincare from me, but I do suggest that you buy the best skincare that you can find. And that you take note that the first places to age are your hands and your neck. And so it doesn't matter how much Botox you have in your forehead, your neck is going to be a dead giveaway. So when you do your skincare and you hit that moisturizer, slide that moisturizer on down into your neck and then rub the back of your hands. You will thank me later. It's one of the very first things they teach you when you start selling skincare and getting into high quality makeup and like all those luxury items. So put that in your pocket. Number 3 is you are the evidence. And this is something that my coach, Chrissy Connor, she's amazing. She shared with me after one of our very first calls, because when I first started working with Chrissy, I had only ever had one client ever. Okay. And so she was telling me all of these things and about how to post all of this stuff and like all these testimonials. And I was like, Chrissy, I don't have testimonials. Like I've only worked with one client. Like, of course I've been a social worker for 12 years at that time, right? So I had all of these like work related testimonials, but as far as coaching clients, I didn't have that. And she's like, well, Kayla, you changed your life, right? Yeah. You learned to set boundaries, right? Yeah. You overcame people pleasing, right? Yeah. You are doing life differently, right? Yeah. And then she said to me, plain as day, you are the evidence. You are your own client. You are your own testimony. You are the proof that your strategies work. And that was life changing for me. That gave me so much confidence. To this day, I have a sticky note on my computer that says, you are the evidence. And so if there is a business model that you're thinking of enacting, if there is something that you want to do with your life and you have some reminder, or you have some success story in your past, you get to be your own evidence that you are absolutely capable of making the change or doing amazing things. And I will forever be grateful to her for that. Number 4 is one of my favorites, and it's that every day is a special occasion. In fact, sis, you are the occasion. Stop saving that sparkly sequin dress or the handbag or the shoes or whatever it is, that special lipstick or perfume. Stop saving it for a special day. Life is incredibly too short for you to be wearing shoes or carrying a bag 2 days out of the year. What are you waiting for? Who do you need to impress? You are occasion enough. I say this because my boyfriend and I were at a beautiful boutique hotel, and I put on my red bottoms and there were scuffs on the bottom of them. And he says to me, babe, do you want this picture? Do you want this in the picture? I can see that the bottom of your shoe is rubbed off. And I was like, yes, I do. I want it in the picture because I don't want people standing around waiting for life. Life is meant to be lived. Shoes are meant to be worn. Bags are meant to be carried. And far too often, we hold out. We hold back. We don't allow ourselves to be the biggest and the best that we can be because we're waiting to impress people who frankly do not care. So wear your stuff. You're the occasion. Got it? Cool. Number 5, take time every day to read or learn something new. Seriously, never stop seeking knowledge. I consider myself a resilient, lifelong learner, and just being willing to learn and to read and to absorb knowledge has unlocked so many doors for me. And it's unlocked me from the bondage of ignorance and not knowing. There's nothing worse than somebody who thinks they know everything. And when you're not coachable, when you're not teachable, it stunts your growth. You don't know what you don't know. So just penciling in that 15 to 20 minutes every single day to read something new, to learn something. There's something called Mindscape. You can read book summaries. You can do Sudoku puzzles. You can read just anything. Taking some time to learn something and expand your knowledge base. It's going to help you develop personally. It's going to boost your intellect, and it's going to make you so much more open to the world around you. Number 6 is a really serious one, and I want you to listen to me closely. Trauma bonds are lethal. A trauma bond, it comes in all forms. So platonic relationships, romantic, familial, and that happens when we bond with someone over shared experiences or similar experiences that were horrible that happened to us in the past. So you and a friend both have toxic relationship, or you and a romantic partner are physically and verbally abusive to one another, and you bond over that. And the reason why this is so dangerous is because when you are trauma bonded to someone, when your entire connection to one another is over something toxic, it keeps you stuck in the version of yourself that you were when those things happened. Trauma bonding is a setup for shrinking. And so the next time that you are finding the strength to leave a toxic relationship, and then you start thinking about, oh, but we're so much alike, or oh, we've been through so much, and oh, how would they ever get through me leaving them too? That is a trauma bond, and that is all the that's all the evidence or all the justification that you need to walk away. If you need help with that, please reach out to me because we can totally work through that together. Number 7, listen good, sis. You can absolutely dump him even if he's a nice guy. And no, that does not make you a mean girl. I came from a family. I came from a setting of growing up. Like the way I grew up is that you needed really a reason to break up with somebody. Like, he's a good guy. He's a good man, Savannah. Right? He really, really likes me. But do you like him? Like, at some point in life, we get to start dating the people that we like, not just dating people who like us. And I want you to like really challenge yourself on that. Like, if you find yourself in situations and in relationships where you are not like truly fulfilled, do you like the person? And you can like somebody and not be in love with them. And you don't have to stay. And it doesn't make you, but in fact, you are a better person for setting them free so that they can find someone who is absolutely connected to them and can love them at the capacity and with the fury that they deserve. That doesn't make you a mean girl. And it took me years to learn that. And once I learned it, it made life so much easier in relationships. Number 8 is so important. It is master your emotions. Master them. When you master your emotions, you master your life. Now, this is not synonymous with not feeling. Because when you are going to have emotions and stuff's going to come up and you're going to have to work through it. But you don't have to not feel stuff. You just have to stop acting on everything. Just because you're mad doesn't mean you get to crash out. Just because you're angry doesn't mean that we shout or we scream or we're throwing things. Just because we're sad doesn't mean that we melt into the floor into a pile of tears. There is a time for everything. And while some people are not advocates for compartmentalization, falling apart at work because you have your feelings hurt is probably not the most appropriate thing to do. Learning to swallow that and then get to a safe space so that you can say, you know what, that really hurt my feelings. Learning to calm down, taking that 10 before you address things. All of the time, I will say to my supervisor, I actually need a few minutes to pull myself together to wrap my mind around this. Can we have this meeting tomorrow? Can we do this at a different time? Why? So that I get back on my square. Because you deserve to present yourself in the best fashion. You deserve the opportunity to rationalize what's going on. And you deserve to respond in a way that reflects your integrity, that reflects your intellect, and that reflects who you are. Not someone who's piping hot in the heat of things. Master your emotions. I have got so many strategies and so many podcast episodes, even an entire masterclass to help you with that, which is one of the birthday specials, by the way. Woosah is in the masterclass bundle, so if you're interested in that, the link to it will be in the show notes. Got it? Cool. Number 9 was one of my top 5, and it's don't force anything. And I mean nothing, sis. Relationships, friendships, ponytails, nothing. If you force it, you'll ruin it. Things should happen organically. They should flow. And I'm not telling you that it's not hard to be patient, but anytime you have to insert your hand to make something happen, you are therefore kind of assuming responsibility for pushing things along. It's kind of like your grandmother's chocolate cake recipe or the secret sauce for her meatloaf. If you rush the process, it's not going to be good. It's not going to have that magic taste to it, right? So you have to allow things to be what they are. And then you get to decide if that what it is good enough for you. But don't rush stuff. I have rushed relationships. I have rushed jobs. I have rushed coaching clients. I have rushed a lot of things, and every single time it has failed. So now it's very leaned back energy, learning to get back into my feminine, allowing myself to attract the right things and not chase. And that is a process. But I promise you, if you are finding yourself having to force it, having to rush it, having to chase it down, it's not for you. Number 10, character is far more important than your reputation. I used to hear this all the time. But as I've gotten older, and I've changed a lot of the way that I think and the way that I move, I recognize just how true this is. Your character is exactly who you are, right? While your reputation is just what people think of you. So as I have changed, lots of stories are portrayed about who people think I am or what people think I think of myself. And initially that really bothered me. But as I have continued to learn and to grow, I've determined that like who I am is far more important than people think about who I am. And so just know, I want to say to thine own self be true, but know without a shadow of a doubt who you are and stand on that. Operate authentically, operate organically, just be who you are. And the right people will see your heart and they will gravitate toward that. And everybody else, they will fall away and it will work out. And I pause because growth comes with grief. It is a very painful process. People that you thought loved and cared about you, people that you thought was going to ride with you till the wheels fell off, will fall away. But I promise you that everything that I've ever lost, God has given me a replacement that is bigger and better and wilder than I could have ever imagined. And that is hard for me to believe. It's hard for me to explain, but I promise you that is the way that it's worked out. Number 11 is forgive your parents for not being perfect. And this one is really, really hard, especially if you have very authoritarian or toxic parents or narcissistic parents. As adults, we get to remember that our parents did the very best that they could, even if that very best wasn't great. And you don't have to tolerate mistreatment and you don't have to tolerate abuse, but holding a grudge against them, it only hinders your progress. So just keep that in mind. Like your parents, they didn't have any kind of manual and they had parents too. And so they were trying to live up to other people's expectations and they had all kinds of pressures and they were just doing the best that they thought that they could at that time. And so forgiving them for the things that went wrong is a key to relationships with other people. Number 12 goes hand in hand with that is that parenting is freaking hard. Y'all, you go like 9 months growing a human in your body and you're sick and you're gaining all this weight and then it's like seriously scary. Or in my case, I got a 2-for-1 and no manual and like this laundry list of expectations. And then on top of that, society expects for you to like work like you don't have kids and to raise your kids like you don't have to work. And it's just hard. It is freaking hard. And kids are growing up at a super rapid rate right now, and you don't want to do anything that's going to traumatize them, and you're really trying hard not to project your childhood traumas onto them. So just think about all of this stuff and give yourself grace. Do your very best. And the way that I look at it is I forgave my parents for the things that they did in my childhood, knowing that my children were going to need to forgive me because I'm not perfect either. Number 13. Too many things in life are mediocre. Too many things in life are mediocre, and love should not be one of them. It absolutely should not be. I'm not saying that you won't have hard times or that there won't be rough patches, but I am a firm believer that we fall in love many, many times in life, and if we're fortunate, it is with the same person. And I'm saying that you get to have the flutters. You get to have that, I would do whatever it takes. I would lose my left pinky toe to ensure that you are safe, to ensure that you are happy. I think it's Angels in the Outfield. I don't know what movie it is, but it's like bases are loaded, bottom of the ninth, reach for the stars, over the fence, World Series kind of love. And that exists. But if you allow yourself to stay with the guy that you just like, you don't love because he's a nice guy, you will never know what that means. And I don't believe it's a once in a lifetime thing. Like I said, I feel like if you're fortunate, you fall in love with the same person over and over and over, and that you shouldn't settle. And I don't care what anybody says. Oh, you met a nice guy and he's got pretty good money. This is good enough. Good enough is not enough. And I just say fight for it. After everything I've been through, I still say fight for it. Number 14, dance, and often, even if you don't know how. It might surprise some of y'all, but I'm not really a dancer. I'm an organized dancer by all means. Dance, cheer, tumbling, all of that stuff. I definitely did it. But I had some reservations for a long time about dancing in public. My very first coach was Karma Christine, and I joined this coaching program. It was like a mini series at the beginning of the year. And one of the things that she would do to push us out of our comfort zone was get us to dance on screen, like on Zoom, with like all of these other people. It's like just wild music. And you are just expected to turn your camera on and dance. And I remember like the first 3 days, I refused. Like I would bob my head, and then like by day number 4, I was like up dancing all over my living room, like complete fool. And she's like, okay, dance in the grocery store. Like the music is great, dance. Like who's gonna stop you? Like why do you care what people are thinking? Like what can they do? They're not gonna put you out of the grocery store. Like seriously. And I have noticed that if you are brave enough to dance, other people will join you. When you dance, you release endorphins. It's those feel-good hormones, right? And it makes you happy. And it makes other people happy. And I will never, ever forget Karma for pushing me to move my body, to let go of those reservations of what people might think if they saw me having a good... So what? If they think I can't dance, so what? If I'm over here in my own zone doing my own thing, why do I care? Like I'm probably never going to see them again. And if I do, so what, they saw me dancing, right? I did not realize how small of a thing that was, but how big of a move it was for getting out of my comfort zone and starting to do things that scared the crap out of me. So while it was a small drop in the water, it left a ripple effect on my life. And so I'll forever be grateful for that. So keep on dancing, y'all. Number 15 is you are enough. More than enough. Just as you are. Like you don't need to do anything different. You are enough, and you get to love yourself enough to recognize that you're enough, and then you get to love yourself enough to become better. Like that is what being enough is all about. The single greatest thing I've ever done for myself in 38 years is to stop waiting on outside validation, to recognize that I am enough, to recognize that like I get to become the person I was designed to be without anybody else's permission, and to become the main character of my story. Taking responsibility for my narrative and the way that things work out for me has been a serious game changer. It has 10x'd my confidence, it has 10x'd my happiness, and it's the foundation of my business. It is my mission to make sure other women know that you are worthy. You are more than worthy of the life that you desire, of the love that you desire, of the career that you desire, the business, whatever it is, you are so worthy of it. And it all starts with recognizing you're enough. And so if you want to partner with me on that, just say coach on any of my socials or shoot me an email, and we will sit down and start seeing how we can map out your goals, plan out your vision, overcome limiting beliefs, master your emotion, whatever it is that you want to do, we can get started on that, okay? Cool. Number 16, y'all. Never allow yourself to be spoken in a way that you would not want for your sister or daughter. And I mean never. Never. I will never forget, I had gotten into a pretty ugly fight with a guy that I was dating. And the way that he spoke to me that day, that was like the final straw for me. I was like, I'm just done. Like, y'all, I'm done. I am done. Because had it been my niece, had it been my sister, had it been one of my line sisters, my best friend, I would have needed bond. Because we're not doing that. But so often we allow ourselves to be stuck in situations, to tolerate behavior, to be like victims of mistreatment and abuse and degradation. And it's like, no, like you don't deserve that. And so the moment that someone starts treating you in a manner that you would not allow for someone that you love, that is your cue to go. I want you to start treating yourself, talking to yourself, honoring yourself in the way that you would honor a friend. Like that's just it. The way that you would honor a friend. And when you start treating yourself like a friend, you will see that your life changes for the better. What you tolerate becomes different. The way that you are respected becomes different, because we teach people how they treat us. So when you start treating yourself as a friend, other people will treat you better as well. Number 17, don't let someone prove to you twice that they don't want you. Do not let and that means exactly what it says. Don't let somebody make a fool out of you multiple times. Whether they say, fool me one time, shame on you. Fool me 2 times, shame on me. Believe people the first time. Set your boundaries very early. Very, very early. And boundaries can be hard. Boundaries aren't just, you can't talk to me like that. That's not the way boundaries work, because there's a or what. What are you going to do if they do continue to talk to you like that? So boundaries have to have a consequence. If you talk to me like this, I won't go to lunch with you again. If you keep calling me names, I will not answer the phone. If you call me after 10 p.m., I'm going to block you. And then you have to hold to it. But don't allow somebody to let you know multiple times, because why? They're going to keep doing it. And then they lack respect for you and they just walk all over you. So if you want to be a doormat, continue. But whenever you want to stand up, I'll be here leading the way. Got it? Cool. Number 18. This one's super, super important, okay, y'all? So even if it's just for a few months, I believe that every person could benefit from leaving their hometown. And I don't say this because I'm shading my hometown of Franklin County. I love Winchester and Estill Springs. Like, y'all, my heart will forever bleed blue and gray. However, I think that exploring a new city and being away from all of the expectations and the merry-go-round aspect of this is what you do and this is where you work and this is how you move and this is who the rich people are and this is who the not so fortunate people are and these are the good old boys and these are not. And when you step away from that, it gives you an opportunity to soar, because people don't know you. So they have no idea what you're capable of, and you find a support system and you find some wind beneath your wings and you can just go. Nothing is holding you back. And it is just wide open space for you to create whatever it is that you desire. It is an amazing experience. And some people say, you know what, this was so amazing and now I want to go home to the safety of the nest. There's nothing wrong with that. But you will never know how far you can go until you at least try to leave home. Number 19 is to use your PTO. Use it, baby. Use it. Do not even let it roll over into sick, unless you are planning on, if you got one of those really cush jobs where you can cash out your sick time at the end and you're going to retire in June and then have all this paid time till December, never mind me. But use your PTO. If you die today before your obituary is sent to print, they will have that job posted on LinkedIn. Those people are not thinking about you. They're not. And I know that when you're super responsible and you're a perfectionist, you feel like you have to be there to hold up the walls. I promise you, if you take a week off, 2 weeks off, if you take 2 planned vacations in a year, that building will keep on rolling. And if it doesn't, that is a systems issue, that is an organizational issue, that is a manager issue, that is not a you issue. And I don't even care if you're in leadership. That is still a systems and organizational issue that needs to be pushed to your manager. It's not up to you to solve problems for a whole organization. We don't fix those from the bottom up. Those come from the top. Got it? Cool. Number 20, y'all, we are pushing through these. Number 20 is to slow down. Stop rushing. Stop walking so fast. Stop rushing through your meals. Stop running down the hall in the office. Stop moving. So where are you going? Where are you going? When I started to slow down and to lean back, I noticed that the energy shifted all around me. all around me. I started moving more intentionally and with more grace and taking time to really enjoy the flavors in my meal, to really enjoy a movie, to really watch the commercial and see what is actually being marketed. And I started to, when I walk, I kind of moved my hips and I actually allowed myself to be a girl. I get up in the morning and I go slow. I don't rush out of bed. I leave with plenty of time to get to the office, so I'm not so upset about needing to rush through traffic. Seriously, slow down. Slow down and see how life changes for you. Wake up a little earlier so you have more time. Go to bed a little bit earlier so that you get better rest. But slow down. Life is coming at us so fast that there is no need to rush through, because guess what? None of us make it out alive. There is no reason that we are running full sprint to our deaths. I don't think that I recognized the importance of number 21 until after I was an adult and I had my own business. But number 21 is support small businesses. Small businesses are literally counting on you for their survival. Not only the survival of their business, but for their food that goes on their table, for their groceries, for their car notes. When you support a small business, you're paying for ballet lessons and football cleats, and you're paying for band camp and all the little things that we enjoy every single day when you are corporate. When you support a small business, that is what you are providing to other people. And not only do I say support small businesses, stop haggling. Pay full price. You would not go in Walmart or Target or Kroger or anywhere else and ask for a discount because you know the cashier. That's not the way that it works. Small businesses and local people are staying up super late. They're getting up really early in the morning. They are taking time away from their families to make sure that your order is perfect and everything is perfectly spelled out and aligned exactly the way that you want it. And so we should give the same amount of love and care into small businesses that we do to these big box stores who don't even know our names. Our money is a drop in a bucket at the big box store. Sam Walton and his family could care less if you ever come back to Walmart. But when you support the lady with the ice cream parlor, or you support the lady with the coaching business, or you support the lady who makes gift boxes, you are changing their lives one order at a time. Cool? Cool. Number 22 is learn to enjoy and appreciate solitude. I grew up in a very crowded family. We did not have anything called privacy. We were always all together, very enmeshed. And so being alone was terrifying. And when I finally moved out on my own, y'all, I was 34 before I lived alone. For the first time in my life, I was all alone. I was alone for 2 weeks and then I got a dog. So now it's just me and Nova. But I had to learn to be by myself. And until I learned to be by myself, I did not know the value of it or how much I appreciated silence. And I had to learn to enjoy my own company. I learned what I like and what I want to eat and what I want to hear on the radio and what I want to watch on TV and how I want the living room set up and how I want the toilet paper roll. Solitude is sacred. But I didn't know that before, and I felt like I needed someone to be with me so I wouldn't be alone and I wouldn't be scared and I wouldn't be bored. But once I learned how to befriend myself, I learned that I'm never alone and I'm never friendless. And I learned that I'm pretty cool, and you can learn the same things. It just takes the courage to be alone. And so I encourage everybody to go to dinner by yourself, or go to a movie by yourself, or go to a museum by yourself. Do not be afraid to venture out into the world alone. Now, by all means, it's 2024. You got to tell somebody where you're going. Let's just be serious. But stop feeling like you have to be codependent or you have to have someone attached at your hip in order for you to be happy. Number 23 is to say yes to new adventures. So I used to be the kind of girl who went to the same restaurants and got the same meal at the same time every single week, and everything was really, really regimented. And when anything got out of whack, it threw off my entire day. I was not in a good mood, and I just didn't do anything new. And I don't know if it was out of habit or out of fear, but I very rarely said yes to new adventures. And then I had about a 6-month stint of saying yes. Yes, I'll go to the restaurant. Yes, I'll go to the show. Yes, I'll go out after work. Yes, I'll go to this movie. I started saying yes because I needed to know what I actually liked. That was within that period of me learning solitude and me learning to venture out and do something different than what I already know. And this is so much easier if this is during that same period when you're like leaving your hometown. It doesn't have to be in the same period, but it's easier to say yes to new people in new areas than trying to keep up with the role and the same when you're trying to keep up with what people think you're supposed to do, right? Like the expectations of the people around you. So don't be shocked when people are like raising their eyebrows, right? Oh, you got on a purple shirt. When did you start wearing purple? Mind your business, Rebecca. I don't know a Rebecca, so if that's your name, I'm sorry. I know one Rebecca. Rebecca, I'm not talking about you. But yes, like you get to do new things, okay? So say yes to new adventures. You never know how it's going to spark a new hobby or a new passion in you, and you won't know unless you try. Number 24, put this one in your pocket. Jesus saves, but therapy helps. Jesus saves, but therapy helps. If prayer alone could change your life, you'd already be healed. You'd already be different based on your grandmama's prayers, based on your mama's prayers. But sometimes we need a little bit more. And there is nothing wrong with seeking therapeutic advice. There's nothing wrong with getting psychiatric help. There is nothing wrong with medication management. We have got to stop pretending like we are not sick. We've got to stop being silent about it. Silence keeps you sick. Silence prevents you from getting the assistance that you need, the assistance that will change your life. And the only way for you to get better is to A, admit that there's a problem, and B, do the work. Jesus saves, therapy helps. And that's that on that. Number 25, I learned from a guy I worked with. He was military, and that is to make up your bed every single morning. We were on a training team together, and I never imagined that he would be a bed maker, but he was like, I guess I should have since he was military, but his logic was that when you make the bed, you start the day already having one thing accomplished. And when the day kicks your ass and you're having it really, really rough, when you get home, your bed is nice and cozy and tidy, and it's literally waiting for you. It doesn't also look all in disarray. And so I guess I met him maybe 7 years ago. But from the moment that we met, and we weren't even romantically involved. It was just one of the things that he stood by was make your bed. And I started making my bed, and I've made my bed every day since, except for maybe 3 days. So thanks, Jeff. The next one is, I have lost my place, y'all. Number 26, buy a few plants. Like every home, every apartment, every office needs a plant. Why do you ask? Because gardening teaches us to be gentle and attentive. It teaches us to prune things that aren't needed, like dead leaves. It teaches us to be patient. And most of all, it teaches us to let things be. And that is exactly the way our lives are. Sometimes there are some things that need to be pruned, right? We need to pull away from all the dead things that are really just draining us, draining the life out of us. Sometimes we need some bigger shoes, because if a plant gets too tight in its pot, if it outgrows it, it gets root bound, and either it dies away or it gets stuck in the size that it is. So you need a bigger pot. That's just like us, right? And no matter what, there comes a period with a plant that you can't fast forward its progress. Sometimes you just have to let things be. You have to push it toward the light, make sure it's getting the right amount of sun and water, and let it go. And that's exactly the way we have to do things. Sometimes we do just what we can do, and then we just have to let it be and do its thing. And so gardening has been so therapeutic for me. Every single time I get the opportunity to buy a friend a plant, or that is my, if you buy a home and you invite me to your party, you can expect a plant from me. If you get a new job, you can expect an office plant from me, because it's just a good reminder that you're not in control. Number 27, don't let the fear of failure stop you from sharing your gifts with the world. You don't need permission to be amazing, and you don't need permission to do something different. Don't let the fear of failure stop you. There are so many hidden talents out there. I'm in Nashville, so think of the amount of people that are walking around in those shops and grocery stores and working behind the bartender or the counter that can sing. Like belting out sounds from heaven, but they're afraid. Think about the amount of people who could possibly have amazing science skills, and they could possibly have a cure for cancer or some other horrible disease, but they're afraid of failing. Think about all the people who have amazing artistic abilities, and they could paint beautiful mosaics, or they could be, the next Van Gogh, but they're afraid that someone's going to critique them. Who told you that you needed permission? Who told you that your talent has to be something that you monetize? Who told you that this has to be something that has to get passed through some sort of screening or check before you get to be great? We get to unlearn that. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting. The worst thing that I can think of is to die with all of my talent inside of me. What a waste. What an absolute waste. Can you think of all the people that are deceased? They die so young, and they think, they were filled with so much potential. Baby, there are people that are 80 and 90 years old who died full of potential because they were too afraid to share their gift. Don't let that be you. Number 28, ask questions and seek answers. This kind of goes hand in hand with my statement about seeking knowledge every day. You don't know everything. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. But when we're honest about it and we're willing to seek information, that is the greatest sign of intellect. One of my patients says, you ask her something and she'll say, I don't know enough about it to have an intelligent conversation. Tell me more. It's my favorite thing for her to say. My favorite thing, because she's like, listen, I don't know, but I'm interested in learning. That is huge. That is huge. It goes hand in hand with that one. And so take time, I guess I should reiterate, taking time to learn something every day and asking questions and seeking the answers. So if someone were to ask you something that you don't know the answer to, that's something that you could be learning for the day, is at least getting more information on it or writing that down. I have a notes section in my phone. When somebody asks me something that I'm not really sure about, I jot that down for something to research. Number 29. This is one that I am still working on to this day, is learning that your relationship with your mother sets the tone for your relationship with other women. Whether that is good, bad, toxic, indifferent, that relationship is kind of your catalyst for other relationships. So know this, regardless of your upbringing, that another woman's light does not make yours dim. And we get to learn to celebrate the success of other women without a need for competition or critique. And this can be a really hard lesson, especially if you were never taught to celebrate your success. So if you were fortunate enough to be in a mother-daughter relationship where you were cheered on and it was an exciting thing when you done something great and you were celebrated, it is your duty to celebrate other women and model for other women how to do that. And I know that not every girl is going to be a girl's girl. I urge you to be a girl's girl regardless. And if you recognize that you have difficulty when your female friends are celebrating success, when they're having a good time, when their light is shining bright, I challenge you to work on that. I challenge you to unlearn that. I challenge you to reparent yourself, because we as women deserve to be celebrated, and we're so worthy of pure friendships where there is no competition. There's only cheering one another on, only that good natured, genuine love. And We could all benefit from that. We definitely could all benefit from that. Number 30, not everything deserves a response. Whew. I don't know that I really fully learned that one until probably last year. Not everything deserves a response. And I'll be honest with y'all, it's the people that are closest to you that are going to pull that out of you, right? Like there's certain people that they do stuff, you're like, oh, I don't care. But when it boils down to the people that are closest to you, they can do stuff that makes you act completely out of character. And then they're like, see, look, I knew you hadn't changed. I knew you hadn't grown. And then you're feeling all guilty and ashamed because everything that you've been working toward or working for feels like it's blown. But I want you to really think about those powerhouses. So think Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Rihanna, Oprah. Do you think that they're going around disputing every false claim in the tabloids? Do you think that they're worried that somebody's unfollowing them because this tabloid said this or this tabloid said that? Do you think that they are provoked to wrath? No, I'm sure that they are talking with therapists and gurus, and Oprah probably has she probably has Tony Robbins, right, in her pocket that she can talk to about how something is driving her insane, but she is not going on a social media frenzy, cursing people out, unfollowing people, or defending herself. And you get to conduct yourself in the same fashion. Decide who and what matters to you, and then you let everybody else live in whatever convoluted delusion that they want to live in. That is their space. But it does not have to consume you. And that is a lesson that I am still learning to this day, but it has been so impactful, especially in this last year. They can live in whatever delusional narrative they choose. That's not my story anymore. So put that one in your pocket, okay? Cool. Number 31. Picture where you want to be in life. And then on a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you to move to that step? Now decide why you didn't say 10. So if you said you're a 7, why didn't you say 10? And then each of those steps. So what would have made you an 8? What would have made you a 9? What would have made you a 10? That is your barriers. And that is where we get to start doing the work. So if it was, oh, I wish I had a different job. Okay, so if you had a different job, look, what's stopping you from getting a different job? I would have to relocate. Okay, what's stopping you from relocating? What's stopping you from working remotely? What's stopping you from applying? What's stopping you from researching? You get the gist? Whatever it is that's blocking you from being a 10, that's where we do the work. That is where we do the work. Simple strategy. Put that one in your that's free coaching, okay? Put it in your pocket. Number 32 made it to my list, and that is don't settle for what you think is available. Lots of stuff is not on the menu, but it'll be given to you if you request it. A couple of years ago, I was at a conference, and a guy named Kyle was talking about how he was going around to different restaurants, and even though it wasn't on the menu, he would order a grilled cheese, because in most instances, whether it's a really fancy restaurant or just like a basic like McDonald's, everyone can make a grilled cheese, and in most instances they're willing to do it. And that's the way life is. Lots of stuff is not on the menu, and so we don't ask for it. But we get to create the habit of starting to ask for what we need or starting to ask for what we desire. Because in most instances, if people truly want to work with you, or if you have proven that you are willing to do the work on your end, people are willing to move stuff around for you. And yes, you might not like out the gate get exactly what you asked for, but you'll be much closer by simply opening your mouth and advocating for yourself. So stop settling for what's on the menu. Ask for what you want and then see what you can get. Got it? Number 33 is do it today. Do it today. The trouble is that we always think we have more time. And in actuality, time is a gift, and we are not the watchmen. As I close in on 38, a part of me like grieves for the flexibility and the freedom that I had in my 20s and my 30s. But I also recognize that aging is a luxury that many people that I grew up with and loved dearly, they weren't permitted this luxury. And I'm really, really grateful for another year and another day to follow my heart and chase my dreams and make this significant impact on the world. But if something pops in my mind, I used to be like, oh, I wonder how that girl is doing, blah, blah. No, I send a text message. I'm very intentional in my actions. I'm very intentional in the way that I chase my dreams and my goals. I'm very intentional in my plans, because the trouble is we think we have time. I used to say, or we used to say, people used to say, here today, gone tomorrow. We are literally here today, gone today. And so I never want to have thought about someone or something popped up in my head and thought, oh, I didn't say what I wanted to say. I never said I love you. I never said goodbye. I never said I was thinking about you. I don't want that on my conscience. So do it today. If there is something that is just urging you, do it today. Don't wait. Number 34, I learned in 2020, and I will never get over this lesson, and I'm so grateful for it, but it changed my life. And it said God will grant you the desires of your heart. Sometimes God ruins your plans so your plans don't ruin you. And sometimes this happens over and over and over, but still his promises are true. So you have to stay the course because your time is coming. In my first marriage, I made that decision. That was not, I know that they say, the Bible says, what God has put together, let no man put asunder. Sometimes God doesn't put stuff together. Sometimes we put stuff together and we are so hard-headed and intent on having things our way that we suffer. And so I did that in my first marriage, and I jumped out of the skillet into the frying pan, as old people like to say. And so my second, very serious relationship, I did the same thing. And I knew, we were together nearly 6 years. I knew by year number 2 that is not the relationship that I was supposed to be in. I was not happy. Things were not going well, but I refused to fail. And so I stayed and I stayed until things were awful. Like, what does the Grinch say? Stink, stank, stunk. I was at stunk before I was like, okay, God, I'm out. You win. I'm not going to do this. Right? And so I think back, and I'm so grateful that he ruined my plans. Because right now, I am living so many prayer requests. I am so happy. I am so cherished. I am so loved. I am on cloud 9. This is better than anything that I could have ever asked for, right? Exceedingly and abundantly above anything I could have asked for. And I never would have had it had I not just surrendered to God's plan for me. So just remember that. Goes back to that forcing. Remember we talked about that in a previous one, that stop forcing stuff. If you force it, you'll ruin it. And if you have to force it, it's not organic. It's not for you. Those things were not for me. Number 35. No one is going to give you permission to chase your dreams. If you want something, you're going to have to fight for it. Nobody is going to be like, here's the red carpet, pull it all back. Here you go. What do you need? How can I invest? Nobody's doing that. Nobody. People are going to say, oh, by all means, chase your dreams. And then they're going to try to talk you out of it. The moment that you say something that seems just a little bit too far-fetched, that seems a little bit over their head, like you are a little bit delulu, they're going to back out. If you want something, you have to fight for it. And I mean that when you go live and nobody is watching. I mean when you have the prototype and nobody wants to buy. I mean when you create this amazing dress or this amazing pattern or this whatever it is and nobody is interested, you get to keep going. You get to keep going. I want you to listen to this list very clearly. Oprah, Michael Jordan, Henry Hoover, the Wright brothers, Steph Curry. All of these people we know for fame. So Abraham Lincoln is another. We know for being famous. Babe Ruth. They had all of these amazing accolades and people think that they're so wonderful. They also had a lot of failures. A lot. So if you think that you're going to be an overnight success, or that you're going to come out of the gate swinging and you're going to have like the best batting average and you're never going to fail, you are far more delusional than is good for yourself. And I use that term loosely, but like seriously, you have to fail in order to be successful. And it's just a part of the process. It's building strength. Confidence is a muscle. And the way that we build confidence is that you get to flex it. You get to practice, okay? So nobody's going to give you permission, and it's not going to happen overnight. But if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. Like I said, if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. Number 36 is back to fun. And that is wear the heels, but bring a pair of flats. And I am saying this from the stiletto queen, okay, y'all? Like, I am a 4.5 to 5 inch girl. I wear my heels all the time. I bring them everywhere. And in my early 20s, I probably would never have been caught. Like, I would not have been caught dead in a pair of flats because I would be so afraid that it was going to be my ghost outfit and I would have panicked. But these days, I rarely leave the house without a pair of flats in tow. Beauty is definitely pain, but there is nothing cute about unnecessary calluses and cramping arches and numb toes. Like we're just past all that, right? So if you are a downtown Nashville girl, if you want to be in Madison Square Garden, if you want to do any of the cool stuff, you're going to have to walk. And so pack your flats so you can walk, put your shoes on when you get there. Thank me later. Thank me later. But that is definitely one of those things that I have learned that I want to pass on to every girl in the whole wide world. Number 37. We are almost done. Oh my goodness. Okay. Never be the biggest fish in the pond or the smartest person in the room. And I come from a small town. And so this is one that people are probably going to roll their eyes at. But when you reach a point in life where you're the smartest person in your friend group, or the most financially stable, or you have the most experience, or the only one that can give advice, it's time for you to get a new friend group. Now, that doesn't mean that we leave those people behind, but it's time for you to expand your horizon. It's time for you to meet new people. And it's to prevent you from shrinking. See, the problem is, remember I told you from the beginning that we need to consistently be increasing our knowledge base and stretching ourselves. But if you are always in a room where you're the smartest person, you start thinking that you don't need to learn anything. And other people are like, well, I don't need to learn. I can just ask Kayla. And I never want that, right? I want to continuously be in a situation where people can benefit from being of my acquaintance. Don't be the biggest fish in the pond. It makes you grouchy. It makes you gripey. And seriously, it ruins your happiness. And nobody wants that. Continue learning, continue growing, continue expanding your horizons, and you'll be better for it. Number 38 is feeding into my word for 2025. And that is live a life worthy of the calling that you have received. I want to encourage you to stop playing it safe. Stop playing it safe. I said it earlier, but like none of us make it out alive. Not a single one. So why are we tiptoeing around to arrive safely at our deaths? Like one of my friends, Jessica, shout out to Jess, love you girl. She said, I love the way that you are living out loud. Like you are making this run around the sun, like the biggest, most extravagant part. I'm like, heck yeah, I'm making it a party. I'm going to live big. I'm going to live loud. And I'm going to Tokyo drift till the wheels fall off this thing. Because we get this one great, big, incredible life and then it's over. And I refuse to live a life where I just pay bills and die, where I make do and die, where I'm like, oh, well, it's good enough and die. I refuse. Like when I cross that golden shore, I want my ancestors to be like, girl, you did that. I want God to say, well done. And I want to truly be able to say, I used it all. Everything that you gave me, I poured out in service, and I lived a life worthy of the anointing that you placed on my life. So y'all, that is my 38 lessons. I hope that you loved them. I hope that at least one of them hit you in a way that can motivate you and push you forward through the rest of this season, or maybe even motivate you throughout life. I love you guys so much. Thank you for spending your morning with me on my birthday. I have some birthday offers tucked away inside the show notes, as I said before. If you want to transform your life, seriously, if you need a starter kit for a brand new you, if you are this is my personal new year. So if you're trying to start today like me, click those show notes and grab a birthday offer, and let's start creating the life that you desire. It is not too late. It is never too late to yell plot twist and do things the way you want to. Love you, and we'll talk in the next one. Thank you so much for celebrating this birthday month with me. If you loved this episode, share it in your stories and be sure to tag me. I would absolutely love to see your takeaways. And here's the best part. When you share, you'll be entered for a chance to win a free coaching call with me. So let's make that thing happen, right? I love you. I can't wait to see you. And of course, I can't wait to see your transformation.